referee Kerry Fraser gets ready to go to work. His linesmen today are Swede Knox and Brad Lazarowicz. As we have Ronnie Stern and Sergio Momesso getting into a fight during a stoppage in play. They'll probably get misconduct as well as what else they get here. Momesso throwing right hand to the side of Stern's head. Knocks his helmet askew. Stern comes back. Stern, as Vancouverites know, is really tough, but so's Big Serge.
Yeah, Stern wants no more of it now, I don't think, but they're still going. Momesso, boy, he's got a short fuse, and he's much bigger than Stern.
They're getting tired a bit now. Momesso getting in a couple more right hands to Ronnie Stern. So now they go with Stern on the bottom.
Well, Ronnie Stern, a former Vancouver Canuck, he's a real character guy, real tough customer, but he was in a little tough, I think, with Sergio Momesso. I think Momesso probably landed the heavier punches, but it was a pretty good go between these two guys.
Team starting to make some changes as Petit feeds it up on the right side to Reichel. Got it to Ranheim as Reichel was taken in on the boards by Jimmy Agnew. Oh, a heavy hit along the boards in the Vancouver zone as Nedved was knocked down. Now the gloves are off here as we've got Berube fighting along the boards with Dirk, Robert Dirk and Craig Berube, a couple more heavyweights. Berube, big and strong. In fact, they're both about the same size. Trying to get some swinging room now at long range, and they let go their grip, and now they're standing at long range, and in they come again. So far, no telling punches, but a lot of effort. Berube gets a couple of right hands to the side of Burke's head, and they're up against the glass deep in the Vancouver zone. They're both looking tired as the linesmen move in.
Well, what precipitated this altercation was a great hit by Berube on Peter Nedved, and Robert Dirk coming in for his smaller teammate. Berube put a big crunch on Peter Nedved, sent him flying. A good check, too, put him right on the seat of his pants. But then that's when Robert Dirk then went after Berube to try to stick up for his teammate, and the two of them went at it toe-to-toe, both landing punches from time to time, but I don't think either one of them was really hurt in the altercation.
Kept on side, Sandlak shot, almost handcuffed Vernon, but he came up with it.
Another fight. We got Cruz against Sandlak. Oh, is this going to be a rough afternoon for Kerry Fraser?
Now this Cruz kid is tough, but Sandlak throws him to the ice in a wrestling hold. Cruz from Merritt, British Columbia. His parents from Chilliwack are here to watch, but right now their son is on the bottom after a brief fight with Sandlak.
Jim Sandlak, just a few moments before that, got away a pretty good snapshot right on Mike Vernon, and it almost handcuffed him. But it looks like Sandlak has taken the worst of the wear. It looks like the bridge of his nose has been cut. Now, I don't know if it happened in the altercation. Quite likely it did.
Puck is played to center ice, tipped off the boards there by Dave Babbage, kicked it ahead, took a bump as he shot the puck to the Calgary line. Pavel Bure in the right boards drops it off for Merzin. Scooped around on the boards by Kirk McLean. Sandlak couldn't pick it up. Yanni's shot stopped by McLean. Puck behind the net as Merzin is sandwiched by Stern and Otto. Now Jyrki Lumme has a little room to move the puck out of his own zone. Sandlak and Berube are glaring at each other behind the play as the puck is picked up by Petit. Berube and Sandlak are still having words. Lazarowicz, the linesman's between them as the play is going on. Berube bumped by Sandlak. Here's a turnover. Momesso shoots, score! Sergio Momesso! Pavel Bure back to get the puck. Slides it now to Jyrki Lumme, and I was watching the hit by Ronnie Stern on Bure. They're really headhunting on Bure. He goes back at Stern. Babbage takes over there. His pass almost stolen. Then he tackles Wilson, and there's going to be a penalty to Dave Babbage as he tackled Kerry Wilson. And Trevor Linden is hammered by Fleury.
Didick came right into Musil and kind of caught him a little bit with a stick earlier, and then Musil just gave him the two-hander right down by the ankles. And referee Kerry Fraser, again, you always see the retaliation. Lister was going after the puck along with Otto in the corner, and then Otto was able to get position on him, ride him right into the glass, and that hurt. Oh, Petit hit Didick from behind. Didick, of course, not the most popular guy with the Calgary Flames, but Petit and Didick involved right along the boards, but I think that Petit came from nowhere and just hammered Didick. I think that's going to be the only penalty. Al McKinnis is really having a tough season. He's been frustrated this year after 103 points a season before, being forechecked. And it looked like he got his stick up on Linden, right up under the chin.
Sergei Momesso picked it up, trying to come up from behind the goal, having difficulty as Berube throws a check on Babic, and the Flames swarm in there, doing some excellent forechecking. But the puck is cleared out as Momesso goes in after it against Osiki. Momesso coming up with the puck, plays it in front. Here's Ronning, shoots, scores! With Ronning. Roberts into the Vancouver zone, tied up by Didick, keeps going after the net, and just put it wide, then ran into McLean, bowled him over. Now he gets a challenge from Didick, and there's going to be a penalty to Roberts. Now Jimmy Agnew comes in, and they're upset with Roberts bowling over McLean.
Well, they should be, too. Roberts was able to fight off the check of Didick, and then went to the backhander down low, and then he kind of just gave the knee to McLean, and they call it charging. Well, Berube took a slash at Ronning, gave it a two-hander, and, you know, Fraser really has to stay on top of this. We talked at the end of the second period about, Jim, you said it might get rough. I said we got to watch out for the cheap shots and hope they keep the sticks down, but Berube just giving Ronning the stick as he cut into the middle, and that picks up 2 minutes.
Keep it onside. The pass was on his backhand and outside the line. Now Babic is hit by Fleury, and I'm telling you, the Flames are doing some hunting right now. Very frustrated by that 9-0 score. Head center to Pavel Bure. Coming down the middle. Neat move at the line. Drops it off to Lariano. He shoots, and the rebound score! Jyrki Lumme makes it 10-0. Zone, turning with the puck. Got away from a check. Played it outside the line. Oh, what a hit.
He got hit big time, and he just got it again. And Nedved just flattened.
Bure to Lariano. Forced back to center ice. And there's going to be a penalty on the play. Now breaking out. Jimmy Agnew is in with Joel Otto. Right along the boards by the penalty box. Otto quite a bit bigger than Agnew, but they're both tough guys. And right now at very close quarters. Agnew trying to get that right hand free. Gets an uppercut from Otto. He's in tough against Big Joe, but Agnew will give it everything he's got. He's a tough kid.
Well, you know why he's in this fight, don't you? Because Otto gave Bure a cheap shot. He was going to get a penalty for it. Agnew flew right in there to take him on. But Otto really took a cheap shot at Bure right out in the neutral zone, and it was picked up by referee Kerry Fraser. Bure draws a penalty as Joel Otto really gave him a cheap shot from behind. Just rammed him right in the back of the neck, knocked him down, and then that's when Agnew flew in there to take on Otto. But he is fun to watch, isn't he? What an exciting player this young man is.
Otto and Agnew got 7 minutes each. Now another fight. Sadlak and Berube. Berube may be the tougher of the two, but they're both big men now on their knees in front of the Vancouver goal. Now they go to the ice with Berube on top. It's the fifth fight of the game. We had them all at the start of the game, and now we're getting them at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's really trash can stuff now, isn't it? I mean, here's a 10-0 hockey game, and you see this nonsense. This is what I think really gives the NHL a black eye. Although a lot of fans enjoy the fisticuffs.
In the right corner to Ronning. Ronning off the boards with the puck to the point. Didick shot right on. Good stop by Reese. Rebound. Score! Trevor Linden. And it's 11-0.
I feel sorry for Reese, though, the goaltender. I know he's giving up some beautiful rebounds. They look like big watermelons. But Michel Petit, he did absolutely nothing to stop Trevor Linden. I mean, here he is up there. He doesn't tie up his stick. Linden just takes the gloves on the chest, but he's got his stick on the ice.
Such a treat to watch. What a great player and a great hockey career overseas, and now in the NHL. He's having his best season. Stern was knocked down at the Vancouver line in a collision with Bure, and Stern lines him up a little bit along the boards as the play starts up ice. Stern hanging on to Bure. He's looking for him. He took a poke at him, and he's going to get a penalty. Hey, we saw it too. Kerry Fraser was watching that. He knew Stern was going to be up to something. He took a poke at Pavel Bure, and now Stern is throwing some punches at Didick, who came in to do some police work to protect Bure, who's being bounced around today.
Well, I hate to be overly critical of a team that's getting spanked as badly as Calgary, but boy, this team has lost their poise, their discipline. They just look like they've really gone self-serving, very individual, taking cheap shots. And I don't want to beat on Calgary, but you have to call it the way it is. This is a very disorganized team right now.
He's starting for the bench now as the play comes out to center ice. It could be rough at the end of the game. Musil and Momesso, now there's fights breaking out. Cruz throwing all kinds of punches at Diddick. And we've got a brawl at the end of the game. Actually, the game isn't officially over. 2.9 seconds left. Cruz really jumped Diddick, who was nailed by a couple of punches before he knew the fight was on. But now he knows it's on, and he throws a headbutt at Cruz. Diddick has a bloody nose from that sucker punch that started it, but then he butted Cruz back. So that's going to cost Diddick some too, but Cruz really jumped him and bloodied his nose.
Yeah, the headbutt might even get you a couple of games suspension. Diddick is an old street fighter, but he got jumped. He got hammered pretty good, but I think the headbutt by Diddick also caught Cruz right on the old beak. But it gets kind of nasty and ugly here at the end of the game. 2.9 seconds remaining.
Well, there was a delayed penalty coming up to Calgary, yet another one, as McLean was heading to the bench.
Well, we want to make sure if there really was a headbutt, because that often brings game suspensions, but we did think we saw Diddick with a headbutt.
But Cruz just came in and nailed him with a couple of punches in his face when he didn't know there was going to be a fight break out. But there was a delayed penalty, I think, being indicated to Calgary with just 2.9 seconds left on the clock now. McLean was heading to the bench for an extra attacker up the ice. I don't know why he'd bother with such a few seconds left in the game.
Well, it's a reaction. You do it.
I think so, right.
Well, let's talk about some positive things while they sort this out, Jim. And the one big positive is what Kirk McLean has done today. He has set a club record for goaltender wins with 33, and what a nice way to do it. He's going to have a 10-0 shutout. That gives him 5 shutouts on the season, tying him with Bob Essenza of the Winnipeg Jets and Patrick Waugh of the Montreal Canadiens for the overall NHL lead in shutouts with 5. Now Quinn is getting involved as he's yelling over at the Calgary bench.
Dougie Risebrough.
Yeah, Risebrough. He's telling Risebrough this is a joke, and he's right.
Quinn is upset with Risebrough, who gave him some talk back, but not much. And I think the Canucks are extremely upset with this last few seconds here, with Cruz just went in there and really jumped Diddick in an 11-0 hockey game.
Well,
Calgary penalty.
Here come the penalties.
Here they are.
Gary Roberts, 2 minutes for high sticking. To number 3, Frank Musil, 2 minutes for roughing. To number 12, Paul Cruz, 5 minutes for fighting. Vancouver penalties. To number 27, Sergio Momesso, 2 minutes for roughing. To number 4, Gerald Diddick, 5 minutes for fighting, and a 5-minute match penalty for head-butting. The time, 19:57.
Well, it was the headbutt that gets the match penalty to Diddick with 2.9 seconds left. Roberts was getting a high sticking. That was the delayed penalty. Then Musil and Momesso got into an exchange, and then came Cruz to jump Diddick, and they had their scrap.
Jim, I think I said Canucks 10-0. I don't want to cheat them on a goal. It's 11-0 Vancouver. And Pat Quinn, the big Irishman, well, I think inside he's delighted how his team played this afternoon. Right now he's showing his displeasure towards the Calgary bench, and particularly Doug Risebrough and some of the shenanigans that we've had to watch here in this third period.
Well, Calgary's had 80 minutes, and the Canucks have had 10 power play opportunities. They're finally going to get this game finished, we hope. There's 2.9 seconds left on the clock, and there's still a delay before they'll drop the puck. And McLean is in there, 2.9 seconds away from a shutout. He's faced 30 shots. Calgary's outshot Vancouver on the day. Of course, it's been a rough one, and the Canucks lost Doug Lidster early in the second period with a shoulder injury, and he's such a key player. We have no indication how serious it is, but you know, it has to be pretty poor an injury for Lidster to miss any ice time. He's so durable. Well, now we're ready for the face-off to kill off the remaining 3 seconds. Nieuwendyk and Fergus, a couple of clean players who don't get many penalties. And the puck is dropped. The time runs down, and this game is over.
Kirk McLean being congratulated by his teammates. for the 11-0 shutout of the Calgary Flames. And if you look back in the first period, that's when McLean was really sharp, when Calgary came out and were playing very well. As it turned out, they didn't get very good goaltending themselves. From Mike Vernon, they made a change after the first period. Trevor Linden joined with Roberts a little bit. There's not a lot of good feeling between these two teams, and there never has been. You know, Vancouver and Calgary have always battled very hard, but Calgary's won most of the time. But Vancouver is doing something about that this year, as the Canucks now have beaten the Flames 3 times this season, and they've also had 1 tie with Calgary.
Well, there was an awful lot of jawing back and forth at the benches when the players left the ice, but the officials did a good job to get there and keep them cool at the end of a long afternoon.
Well, it looks like the Canucks are going one way and the Flames are going the other. All the Winnipeg Jets have to do now is win some games, because Calgary doesn't look like they're going anywhere right now after this performance here this afternoon.